Oh, Isabella, sweetie, the main dinner table's full. We set up a folding chair for you near the kids' section. Aunt Patricia's voice cut across the country club patio like a blade. I stood there, overnight bag still in my hand, and watched my cousins try not to laugh. That was the moment I realized they didn't just overlook me. They planned it. My name's Isabella. I'm 26 years old, and I'm a registered nurse. I work at a rural clinic 2 states away, the kind of place where we treat patients who drive an hour just to see a doctor. It's not glamorous. I don't have a corner office or a Tesla in the driveway. My family? They're lawyers, real estate moguls, corporate VPs. My older sister Veronica sells million-dollar homes and posts about it constantly. My cousin Brendan just made VP at some finance firm. And me? I chose nursing over law school. To them, that was settling. For years, I've been the quiet one, the one they'd forget to tag in photos, the one they'd ask, "Still doing the bedpan thing?" at Thanksgiving. I hadn't been to a family reunion in 3 years. Because honestly, it hurt too much. But this year, I thought maybe things would be different. Maybe they'd finally see me. I was wrong. I wasn't rich. I didn't drive a luxury car or wear designer clothes. But I had something they didn't expect. And I was about to prove I didn't need their approval anymore. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Because you're going to want to hear how this ends. The reunion was at some upscale lakeside resort. Aunt Patricia organized the whole thing. She's the type who sends group texts about mandatory attendance and dress codes. I'd driven 6 hours to get there. I was exhausted. When I walked onto the patio, everyone was already gathered for welcome cocktails. Veronica barely looked up from her champagne. "Oh, you actually came? Thought you'd be too busy saving lives or whatever." My cousin Brendan laughed. "She's here for the free food, V." I forced a smile. Tried to join the conversation. That's when Aunt Patricia pulled me aside. "Honey, we have a tiny seating issue for dinner tonight." I waited. The main table's reserved for core family contributors, people who've really made something of themselves, you know? My stomach dropped. So we set up an overflow table. You'll be with the teenagers and some distant cousins. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal. I nodded. Didn't trust myself to speak. Then came the toasts. Uncle Ron stood up, loud as ever, glass raised. He went around the circle, praised Veronica's record-breaking sales quarter, congratulated Brendan on his promotion, gushed over cousin Jenna's engagement to some finance guy. Then he skipped right over me, moved on to the next person. Someone finally said, "What about Isabella?" Uncle Ron paused. "Oh, she's doing her thing. Nursing, right? Very sweet." The table laughed. Not mean laughter exactly. Just dismissive, like I was a child who'd brought home a crayon drawing. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. An email. I stepped away to check it, hands shaking. And that's when I heard Aunt Patricia's voice behind me, low, like she didn't want to be overheard. I almost didn't invite her. She doesn't really fit in anymore. Veronica's reply was worse. She never did. I stood there in the shadows, read the email on my screen, and something inside me shifted. I could have left right then, driven back to my budget motel room. I couldn't afford the resort rate, and disappeared. But I didn't. They wanted me to vanish? Fine. Let them think they'd won. The next morning, I woke up to my phone lighting up. The family group chat. Photos everywhere. Everyone dressed up. Glasses of champagne. Big smiles on a yacht. I scrolled through, confused. Then I heard voices outside my motel window. A couple walking past, laughing. I checked the chat again. They'd planned a private yacht brunch. I wasn't invited. Hadn't even been told. I got dressed and went back to the resort anyway. Tried to act like it didn't matter. Veronica saw me by the lobby. "Oh, hey, we thought you'd be tired from work. Didn't want to bother you." She said it so casually, like I should be grateful. I spent the morning walking the lake trail alone, fighting tears the whole time. That evening was the big family dinner. I showed up in a simple sundress. Everyone else looked like they'd stepped out of a magazine. Aunt Patricia seated me at the far end of the table, away from the main conversation. Cousin Jenna stood up halfway through the meal. She was glowing, showing off her ring. "I want to announce my wedding party." Veronica was maid of honor. 3 other cousins were bridesmaids. My name never came up. I tried to join in when they started talking about venues. "I've heard that place is beautiful." Jenna cut me off. "Thanks, but we're really only taking advice from people who've, been to these kinds of places." Uncle Ron nodded. "No offense, Bella, but your budget's probably a little different from Jenna's vision." The whole table laughed. My face burned. I looked down at my plate and stayed quiet. After dinner, Aunt Patricia grabbed my arm. Suddenly she was warm, affectionate, a complete 180. "Sweetie, I need a favor." I waited. "My friend's daughter needs a reference for nursing school. Could you write her a glowing recommendation?" I hesitated. "I don't know her." Patricia waved her hand. "That's fine. Just make something up. You owe me anyway. I paid for your hotel upgrade." "You didn't upgrade my room." Her smile tightened. "Well, I invited you. Same thing. Just do this one little thing." Then she added, "And maybe you could take a look at my knee? It's been bothering me. Free medical advice, right?" I finally understood. They only valued me when they needed something. "I can't write a fake recommendation, Aunt Patricia." Her face went cold. "You know, Isabella, it wouldn't kill you to help family, but I guess you've always been selfish." She walked away. I stood there, hands clenched, but I didn't cry. I didn't explode. I just walked back down to the lake, sat on a bench in the dark, and opened my laptop. The email was still there. I read it again. Let myself smile. Just a little. What they didn't know was that 3 days ago, I'd received the call that changed everything. 6 months back, I applied for a position I barely thought I'd get. Lead coordinator for an international medical relief organization. It was competitive. 12 positions worldwide, 4,000 applicants. I'd been selected. I was going to work with WHO officials, humanitarian leaders. The position came with relocation to Geneva, a 6-figure salary, full benefits. I'd kept it quiet, waited for the final contract to be signed. The email I'd gotten at the cocktail hour, that was it. The contract was done. The announcement was going public in 48 hours. And there was something else. Something I'd never told anyone. For the last 2 years, I'd been paying for Grandma's assisted living, every month. The family thought Aunt Patricia was covering it. She'd taken credit, accepted praise, posted about it on Facebook. I never corrected them. I didn't want recognition. I just wanted Grandma safe. I sat there by the lake, staring at my screen. Let them have their yacht brunch, their designer clothes, their condescending smiles. In 2 days, they'd see exactly who I'd become. I decided to stay through the weekend. Not for revenge, for closure. That night, my phone rang. Dr. Ayana Okoye, my mentor. I answered, and the second I heard her voice, I broke down. Told her everything. She listened. Then she said, firm but kind, "You've been hiding your light for them. Why?" "I don't know. I guess I kept hoping they'd see me." "They won't see you until you let yourself be seen. You've earned this position. Own it." She suggested I make the announcement myself, on my terms. I hesitated. I don't want to seem like I'm bragging. It's not bragging to exist fully. Let them know who you are. The next day, the group chat exploded again. Photos from the farewell brunch setup. Inside jokes I wasn't part of. Veronica posted, "Best family ever. So grateful for my people." I wasn't tagged. I wasn't mentioned. I walked past the pool that afternoon and heard voices. Brendan and Uncle Ron. I stopped, hidden by a column. "Think Isabella's mad we didn't include her more?" Ron snorted. "Who cares? She barely contributes anyway. Patricia said she wouldn't even help with a simple favor. She's always been like that, all sensitive and awkward." I stood there, but this time I didn't feel hurt. I felt clarity. I went back to my room, printed a copy of my signed contract, grabbed the bank statements showing Grandma's payments. Texted Ayana, "I'm ready." She replied instantly, "Make them remember your name." The morning of the farewell brunch, I dressed carefully. Nothing fancy, just simple and confident. I walked into the outdoor pavilion. Everyone was already gathered. Champagne, laughter. Aunt Patricia saw me and whispered something to Veronica. Veronica rolled her eyes, didn't even say hello. I sat quietly, waited. Uncle Ron stood up for the final toast. "To family, to success, to the ones who make us proud." He looked right past me. That's when I stood up. I didn't make a scene. I walked over to Aunt Patricia, Uncle Ron, and Veronica. "Can I speak with you privately? Just for a minute." They exchanged looks, confused but curious. We went to a private terrace area off the pavilion. Patricia crossed her arms. "What's this about, Isabella? We're in the middle of—" "I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know I'm leaving tomorrow. For Geneva." Veronica smirked. "Geneva? Like Ohio?" "Switzerland. I've accepted a position as lead medical coordinator for an international humanitarian organization. I'll be working with the WHO. Silence. Uncle Ron frowned. "You? A coordinator?" "Yes. Out of 4,000 applicants, 12 were selected. I was one of them." Patricia stammered. "Well, that's nice, sweetie, but it comes with a 6-figure salary, full relocation, and a seat on the advisory board for global health initiatives." Veronica's face went pale. "Why didn't you mention this?" I looked her in the eye. "I tried. At dinner, when you cut me off. At cocktail hour, when Uncle Ron skipped over me. I've been trying to tell you who I am for years. You just didn't want to listen." Patricia started backtracking. "Honey, if we'd known, you would have treated me differently? That's exactly the problem." Uncle Ron stepped forward. "Now wait a minute, we've always supported—" "You didn't even invite me to the yacht brunch. You seated me with the kids. You called me selfish when I wouldn't fake a recommendation letter." Patricia's mouth opened and closed. I kept going. "And by the way, I've been paying for Grandma's care for 2 years. The facility you said you've been covering, Patricia? That's been me, every month. I didn't say anything because I didn't need credit. I just wanted Grandma safe." I pulled out the contract, the bank statements, handed them over. Veronica stared at the papers, speechless. Patricia's face went red. I didn't know." "You didn't ask." My voice cracked, but I kept it steady. "I came here hoping you'd finally see me, but I don't need that anymore. I see myself." I turned to leave. Veronica reached out. "Bella, wait." I looked back over my shoulder. "Enjoy your brunch." I packed my bag, checked out early, drove away from the resort without looking back. My phone started blowing up. The family group chat, apologies, excuses, congratulations that felt too late and too hollow. "Aunt Patricia, we always knew she was special. Veronica, can we talk? Please?" I muted it. Stopped at a diner halfway home. Ordered coffee. Texted Ayana. I did it. Her reply came instantly. Proud of you. Welcome to the rest of your life. I sat there in that worn-down booth and realized something. The weight I'd been carrying, the need for their approval, was gone. I didn't hate them. But I didn't need them either. For years, I'd made myself small so they'd feel big. But standing up didn't make me cruel. It made me free. When I got home, I started packing for Geneva. My phone buzzed one more time, a text from Grandma. Heard the news. Always knew you'd fly, sweetheart. I smiled. A real smile, unburdened. For once, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. If you've ever had to prove your worth to people who refuse to see it, this one's for you. Hit subscribe and tell me. Where are you watching from? I read every single comment. Have you ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to lift you up? Share your story below. You're not alone. And remember, you don't need their applause to know you're enough. I'll see you in the next one.